Hello, welcome to another epic Save the World Playerverse environment campaign with your boy Roger Zero. Here we're just looking at the tail end of the blockbuster event, which we covered last video. Just going to have a look at some of the event heroes, all of which are viable at some point when you can get high enough level. And you may recognize some skins. If you haven't played Save the World, you may recognize some of the skins characters from Battle Royale. I believe Raven, as he's known in Save the World, was also a skin you could get in Battle Royale. And just go over to heroes here. Of course, Urban Assault Headhunter, which I tend to main, at least until I pick up Master Grenade and Ramirez, which we'll touch on later. Here's Raven. Mythic. Mythics don't tend to be better per se, with the exception of MGR, but we'll get into that later. It's Cloak Star. A lot of these heroes tend to have backstory in Save the World. Double Agent Fawn from the event, which I tend to run with. Bonuses. Him. North Wukong. Urban Assault Headhunter. Here's Piercing Lotus Looter. Ninjas are fine. I tend to main soldiers, but it really depends on your playstyle. Constructor's also good. Demolition Bull is fine, but tends to be power based Nox or heavy base. Tends to be the meta, meaning the best constructor in the game. But again, it really depends on your playstyle. And once you're high enough level, a lot of these heroes tend to be viable regardless, depending on your setup with your survivors and how much offense or tech you get from your survivors from leveling up the specific section of survivors, so your gadgeteers or your marksmen, etc. Of course, got a couple of epic heroes there, which you can flux up, but with the collection book rework, which we'll get into a bit later, you can essentially recruit pretty much anyone from Master Grenade, Ramirez, to Face Scout Jess. Oh no, I forgot Carbide. Snap! There he is. Of course, he has the higher tier armor there. As you level up your heroes from 1 star through to 5, you get armor variants, skin variants, etc. Bit of a different look. I believe it's 1 through 3 star, and then I don't believe you get much of a change after 4 or 5 star. Unless, of course, you change them. And here we're going to open a loot llama. Let's see what we get. And they still have loot llama / loot boxes in the game. Still very much early access. Looking to go free to play sometime later this year. And I imagine once it does go free to play, they'll probably loot boxes. You won't be able to buy them with V-Bucks anymore. I imagine you'll just be able to grind them out in the game. Because a lot of companies are sort of moving away from loot boxes. They tend to think they're a bit immoral, you know, just the way you can get things from loot boxes aren't essentially, yeah, it's a bit, well, that's a whole other conversation for another day. Here we are opening a Blockbuster Llama, see what we get. A couple of greens, blue. It really doesn't matter. I mean, if, like I said earlier, I mean, you can flux up rare, epic heroes, even common if you want, but like I said, with the collection book rework now, you can recruit pretty much anyone you want, except for the event heroes. Again, that may change in the future. It's still very much in early access right now. As a founder myself, I'm hoping that all these wonderful quality of life changes will keep continuing. But we will see. When it goes free to play, that will be the real test. Here's 8-bit Constructor and Diecast Jonesy. I've got the diecast version, the female variant. Jonesy tends to be a bit of a joke, unfortunately, as a lot of people use Love Ranger Jonesy. A lot of AFK people use Love Ranger Jonesy, but that's something we'll get into later. Here's a Bobcat, just one of the weapons from the event store, loot store, and weekly items. Weekly items, they will swap around every week. Use gold that you mine from campaign missions and daily loot coins. Daily coins, I should say. And of course, here's some of the founder weapons. You can't necessarily flux up to legendary, but you don't really need to. Founder's Revolt is amazing. It's got an amazing bullet reshape perk, which I may have mentioned in the past. You can upgrade some of the perks on founder weapons at the moment. No word yet as if you can flux them to legendary. You don't really need to. Epic weapons can be quite viable. It just depends on your perks. And of course, here we got global chat, aka trade chat, which is just pure cancer at the moment. And until Epic implements, or people can fly, the developers implement some sort of specific trade chat, trade room, trade biome, trade anything, it's just going to be cancer. And essentially, people will ask other players in game for weapons which they don't have the schematics for, so they can't make them again, and then they'll trade for mats, etc., high tier mats, after being taxied into higher level biomes by high level players, by just joining high level players either in the friend list or just asking high level players. So yeah, trading, taxing, two of the biggest issues right now in Save the World. And of course, Builder Pro Control scheme now in Save the World, so you don't have to swap your controls. If you run Builder Pro and Battle Royale, you can just change game mode and run Builder Pro and Save the World also. Getting into the collection book now. As I mentioned, the collection book Rework. In the past, once you slotted something, it was essentially just stuck in the collection book. You could upgrade it, you could get more points to get rewards from the collection book, and that was it. Here's Master Grenadier Ramirez, one of the meta heroes, mythic heroes, which I will be picking up either from Loot Llama, as unlikely as that may be, or simply just by spending flux and manuals. And manuals you get from recycling rare, epic, legendary heroes. I think you need about 300 manuals and 300 flux for Master Grenadier Ramirez, whereas other heroes, non-mythic heroes, just simple legendary heroes, are much cheaper. And here's Power Base Nox, one of the meta constructors as of now. Either Power Base or Heavy. People tend to love running them as opposed to the mythic constructor, which we'll see in a bit. Mega Base Kyle. Again, there's a lot of, not a lot, but I mean there are things, say, depending on your playstyle, depending on what other heroes you have slotted in your tactical support slots, how high level you are, what weapons you're running, how good you are building trap tunnels. Yeah, I mean, You can still run Megabait Carl and do very well in missions, however, heavy and power is where it's at for now. And here's the mythic, another mythic hero, Swordmaster Ken, Ninja. Get some good perks bonuses. Again, entirely dependent on your playstyle, weapons, etc. The Outlanders, I tend to run Pathfinder Jess with another Pathfinder Jess. Makes farming a bit faster. Of course, you can, as I said, recruit pretty much anyone from the collection book, aside from event heroes. But I mean, being early access, again, that might change. Who knows? And I'm only up to, what, level 51, level 50 collection book. I mean, you get Raider, which is another specific hero you can only get from collection book now, I believe. Unless you got him in an event or something. If you get to 100, level 100 in collection book, then you will get Raider. Good for shotguns. And here's how much Pathfinder Jess is. It's a bit cheaper than Master Grenade and Ramirez. The Pathfinder Jess, essentially, I only tend to use for farming. I can run a lot of lower level missions with her, but I don't tend to run higher level missions with her just because I just do a lot more DPS with Urban Assault Headhunter, Wukong, and Double Agent Vaughn. Striker AC, good for is Anti-Material Punch, which she also has, same as Pathfinder Jess. Also good for, completely viable for farming, depending on what sort of mats you're after. And here's the mythic hero, Face Scout Jess. It's a pretty dope looking skin. I don't know what Epic plans to do skin wise when it comes to Battle Royale. I think they've just got their own plans for Battle Royale and Save the World. Plans for Save the World are separate for the most part. There is a bit of an event crossover, but again, we'll see what the future holds. Here's all the collection book weapons, all the weapons you can collection book. Some more heroes, survivors from past events, Bring It On, and Chinese New Year. Of course, just below it, the Cyber set. With heavy base Kyle. Ted Shed Joss. I should say Ted Shed. Ted Shot Jess. I can remember how to speak English. It's good. Heavy base Kyle, as I said earlier. Great constructor. Have him drop from a loot llama, or if you want to spend your flux, recruit him from the collection book. Of course, Cyberpunk heroes arranged. It's Headshot Jess. It's just a cool looking skin too. Upgraded visor, etc. And the Ninja Harvest Sarah, legendary. Dragon Scorch is the meta at the moment where Ninja's concerned. We start with Shuriken Master Sarah. You do very well. And moving on. course, this is what the user interface looks like right now. When it comes to free-to-play, who knows? It could change again. It could change before free-to-play. Just the joy of early access game. And of course, this is my setup at the moment. I can only level heroes to 4-star because I haven't unlocked Twine Peaks yet. However, Twine Peaks still without story, so there's really not much point unlocking Twine just yet. You can get to Twine if you want to grind through Canny. However, I was waiting for story to be added to Canny before I kept running campaign missions. The story will be added to Canny, I believe, the 27th of July, which is a little over a year since Save the World Early Access begun. I think it was Alpha on the 24th through 27th, and then 27th on was Early Access, Beta. I will have to check my facts and get back to you. Or if you want to just check out the Fortnite Wikipedia, there's a lot of information on Fortnite Reddit as well. And thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one.